Yeah, I didn't get a chance to thank our fans for Saturday. The environment on Saturday in Neville was, incredible as always. And, we got another ranked opponent coming in here, tomorrow afternoon. And, man, would love to have another sellout because I know our guys appreciate the hell out of it, and so does our staff. So, um, yeah, really good Vanderbilt team coming in. Another top 20 opponent, and you don't get a lot of those on your home floor. So, great opportunity. Their analytics are off the charts as far as their number in the net, but also just their efficiencies on offense and defense. Got off to a great start, 16 and 0, and have kind of had some injury bugs, but they've still been able to get some quality wins in that stretch. Had a great non-conference, and they just got some special players on their team. Tyler Tanner is one of the best point guards in all of college basketball. Um, you know, 18 and 5, and almost a 3-to-1 assist turnover ratio, and leads our league in steals, I think. So just does a little bit of everything for them. And Tyler Nichols, probably the best shooter in our league, and I think he's like 5th in the country in 3-point field goal percentage. Really high-powered offense, and they're a very efficient defense as well. So really good team. It's our 13th Quad 1 game of the year, and this one starts another 4 out of 5 stretch of Quad 1 games. So say it again, another great opportunity, to bounce back and play a really good Vanderbilt team. So with that, take any questions.
Stephen, you said after the game that Vandy has a really unique offense. Just kind of what stands out about them. I know they take a lot of jumpers. They're not huge, but they've been able to score inside and outside really well this year.
Yeah, they run Spain action like all over the floor. So Spain action is a ball screen into a back screen for the screener, and usually in Spain actions you put a shooter as that screener, and it makes it really difficult on your defense to try and decide what you want to take away. So. They do it all over the floor, and they have different sets. And when Tanner or Nickel get going, they run something unique for those guys to try and get them a look too. And they just run a lot of really good stuff. So our guys got to be really connected, and really got to lock into the scouting report to be able to cover them.
Talked about getting more minutes for Jovic. Is that pretty tough with the way Keyshawn Murphy's playing right now and the way Sebastian Williams is playing, especially defensively? And any ideas on how you can do that?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing we could do is maybe slide Seb down to some 3 and, have Phillip play some 4. So that's probably the would make the most sense. But you're right, Murph's playing great. Sebastian's playing great. Those are 2 of our better defenders. So, but still got to find a way to get him more than 12 minutes out there because, he just does so many little things that affect winning. And, we got to reward him for that. And we got to do a better job in that area.
You guys ran KO at the 1 some there in the game. What do you like about that lineup, and is that something y'all might want to do a little bit more with whenever Todd's on the bench?
Yeah, it was good. KO was excited about it, and I think it just gives us, a little more pop at the point when he's in there, and because he obviously can score the ball at a pretty high clip, and he's confident at that spot. So. And then you can still have Blake or Simon play the 2 because they have good positional size. So, KO at the 1 was good for us offensively, and it gives us potentially a lineup later in the game if we need to get some more size out there defensively. So it gives us some flexibility there. But Vanderbilt's a team that presses, so I'm sure they're going to try and press KO when he does play the 1. So got to be prepared for that.
You mentioned the Tyler Tanner matchup, and after the game, talking about getting your better players to be better defenders. I guess this probably isn't a very difficult matchup to get them up for with a guy in the backcourt like Tanner for Tahad and for guys like KO to defend.
Yeah, it wasn't our on-the-ball defense that I was really speaking about. It was our off-the-ball defense. We were out of position off the ball too many times, especially in ball screens. And if you do that against this team, you're screwed. So we got to do a great job off the ball of really loading to it and, showing help. Multiple times in the Alabama game, the ball screen's happening over here, and we're guarding a guy in the corner, and we're just completely face guard, or we're all the way over there because we're worried about him shooting the ball, as opposed to loading to it and offering help and assistance to the guys in the ball screen. So in the first half, we did a really good job of it because Sebastian was down there, and Sebastian's always in the right spots, which is why he's such a good player. Second half, we were not loaded to the ball because Sebastian wasn't in that spot. The rest of our guys have to do a better job of understanding off the ball positioning. Our on the ball defense was actually pretty good. I thought we did a good job. You know that LeBaron and Aiden are going to obviously make some tough shots. They're really good players. Like that's part of it. But when your off the ball positioning was as bad as ours was in the second half, it allows guys like Bediako to have 12 points. It allows us to have to get in rotations and allow some of their other shooters to make shots. So it was more of our off the ball positioning. But you're right, Tanner's going to be a handful because he's one of the quickest, point guards driving downhill in the country. And, he gets down there in transition really quickly. And, you can guard his right hand as much as you want, but he'll still drive right around you. So our guys got to be in a stance and obviously be ready to sit down and, really guard the yard because he does such a great job of getting to his spots on the floor, driving left or right.
You've been really complimentary of Sebastian today and after the game on Saturday defensively. How beneficial is that to be able to have a guy that young to rely on? What does that say about him, his development, and how he's performed for y'all so far this season?
Yeah, it's huge. We met as a team yesterday. I was like, I need more guys to defend like him. If we want to win, close games, like we're right where we need to be in all these games. But it comes down to getting a couple stops late. And if all of you, had the same attention to detail and the same sense of urgency that Sebastian does, like we win these games, right? So it's great having it, and it's rare to have a freshman that's that guy you talk about. So I need my older guys to, and here's the thing. They're all capable of doing it too. You know what I mean? And we've seen it in games this season. So we just gotta lock back in on a couple of the small details of what we're doing defensively. And if we do that, we'll be fine.
McLaughlin last season really stood out for Vandy. He's having a really good year again. Just what does he bring to them as one of their bigger guys, but a guy who kind of can go all over the floor?
Right. He brings a level of toughness. I think he had 14 rebounds against us last year. So, and that was against a team that had Janai and Dylan and Chaney and some really good bigs. So he was really effective and plays really hard. And he can make shots. He can finish around the rim. So he's very versatile. He can defend, moves his feet well. So does a lot of really good things for him. And they got multiple guys that are like that just are very effective in what they do. And McLaughlin's no exception. He does a great job for him, and he brings a lot of value when he's on the floor.
You mentioned Simon a couple minutes ago. I guess, how is he doing? I know that he had that injury earlier in the year, and then Abdul as well. Are either of them in position, do you think, to contribute any sort of minutes down the stretch of the SEC season?
Yeah, we may look at inserting Simon in some minutes at the 2 if KO is going to play some 1. So we're still kind of going back and forth on that. And Abdul's still kind of coming back and like rehabbing his back, and so we're not going to rush his process because back injuries are touchy. So he's more just in the rehab stages still, and just trying to get stronger and more comfortable. But I think Simon is a guy that you could see getting some minutes in the coming games.
3-point defending this year, teams have had some success against y'all here, especially recently. Is that more of, like you were talking about earlier, the off-ball stuff, just not, fading off too much or, locking in the set more than what you guys are doing on the ball with them?
Yeah, it's interesting. I right before I came down here, I'm clipping right now every 3-point attempt and make in conference through 10 games and categorizing them based on where they off of ball screens off the ball, transition, drive, draw dishes, downstream dribble handoffs, just all the different ways that people are shooting and getting threes, and trying to figure out if there's a pattern as to why people are shooting 39% against us. So part of it is obviously, us trying to be more intentional on being in the gap. So, because, the first game of the year, Georgia, they just drove us because we were so spread out, and we couldn't let that happen. But, at some point we got to make an adjustment too, because teams are shooting a good percentage against us, and, can't keep chalking it up to teams are making tough shots. We got to make adjustments. So right now I'm currently trying to figure out, where we can get better, whether it's our closeouts or whether we're over-helping too much. Because, when you switch as much as we do, you shouldn't have to require a ton of help. So currently in the stages of trying to figure that out right now. So once I have a better answer, I'll let you know.
Any other questions? All right.
Thanks.
Coach.